How is everybody doing? Welcome back to another episode of The Banker Next Door. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Berquist. Today, I wanted to talk to everybody about why are community banks so trusted. I saw a great article in Independent Banker magazine that I wanted to cover with everyone today and hopefully shed a little bit of light on why customers put so much trust in community banks. So here is the article in question. If you do want to check out this article, there is a link in the description down below if you'd like to go check it out. But let's go dive into this for a second. So the title is What Makes Customers Trust Community Banks? Trustworthiness is an integral to the success of a bank. And for community banks, it's more than table stakes. It's your competitive edge. We ask community bankers and others how they build and maintain trust in an ever more digital world. So on the surface, building trust seems straightforward, especially for community banks with relationship-based business models and that have a long history serving their local communities. But in an increasingly digital world, building and maintaining trusted relationships is more complex. Technology, consumer expectations, and the way people interact with their financial institutions are all changing, prompting banks to change with their times. How to connect with a digital customer. For many community banks, building trust starts with a core foundation of personal relationships. Yet, that simple step is far more challenging in an era when customers are making fewer in-person visits to bank branches. The foundation for us in building trust is still the way we've been doing it for 140 years in terms of building relationships, supporting the community and supporting our employees who are our ambassadors in the community, said Brian Canina, president and COO of $4.4 billion asset People's Bank in Holyoke, Massachusetts. In today's digital era, building personal connections requires more outreach, including stepping outside the bank to volunteer at and participate in community events. Just the presence alone and knowing that your bank is right there and supporting your community is a good way for those customers who don't come into a branch to feel our presence in the community and build that relationship. So it's very interesting. For community banks who rely on building personal relationships using a relationship-based banking model, being out there in the community, participating at community events, like doing a lot of networking basically, and being involved with a lot of chambers of commerce and things like that, that is critical to building relationships with people and keeping the name top of mind and being out there and just being involved in the community. So let's look at a quick stat here real quick. So 69% of consumers rank good fraud protection as one of their top considerations when choosing a financial service provider. So that's kind of an interesting sidebar there. But let's continue on here. So community banks have a long history of supporting their communities through volunteerism, sponsoring local groups and events for philanthropy. For example, Meridian Bank in Malvern, PA donates $400,000 to $500,000 each year to local nonprofits as part of a tax credit program available through the state of Pennsylvania. That initiative allows the $2.5 billion asset community bank to directly support local organizations that are doing good work. That's really helped us build trust and credibility because our customers know that we're not just here for the dollars and cents, says Chris Annis, Meridian's chairman and CEO. They also know that we're helping to build the economics of the area with both the companies and the organizations that make this area better. So outreach needs to encompass all channels, including connecting with customers online via websites, email, mobile apps, and social media. Examples range from providing educational resources from financial literacy to hosting seminars for first-time homebuyers. We focus on making sure we're constantly changing with the times and with technology and in reaching our customers through all the channels in which they could be seeing us in the market, says Kanina. The tried and true approach of going to meet with customers, sitting down, asking great questions, listening to them and providing relevant solutions, that's still a great way to go for building trust. And that was said by Travis C. Rouse, M&F Bank. I think listening is the key word there. You have to listen to your customers. What are they really asking you and what are they really telling you? Okay, so now as we continue on here, it goes to secure finances, secure trust. So the increasing prevalence of fraud makes it all the more important for the financial services industry to build and keep customer trust. According to a recent FICO report, 69% of consumers rank good fraud protection as one of their top considerations when choosing a financial service provider. Financial security is a foundational way for community banks to create trust, notes Andrew Gawasak, president of TrustStamp, a provider of AI-powered technologies that serves the banking and financial services industry. Customers assume you have the correct protocols in place to protect them. And if they start getting a feeling that those protections aren't in place, they will look elsewhere, he says. Community banks are tasked with being vigilant against fraud directed at customers and the bank itself. Synthetic identity fraud, where criminals can use stolen information to invent fictitious people and then use those identities to apply for financial accounts, is just one type of fraud on the rise. At financial institutions, it's estimated that 95% of synthetic identities are not detected during the onboarding process, according to Thomson Reuters. Trust is not a one-way street. It's a two-way street, says Jill Sung, president of 350 million asset Abacus Federal Savings Bank in New York City. It's not just about the customer trusting the bank. The bank has to trust the customer. Community banks need to ask or answer rather two key questions. Who are you and can I trust you? There should be easy questions to answer, says Gawasak. But they're not, largely because of the number of data breaches that have occurred that have made personally identifiable information widely available to fraudsters and other bad actors. Providing extra layers of security, such as with biometric data or two-factor identification, creates added protection for both the customer and the financial institution. However, any new safeguards, whether it is a new tool or process, also need to be paired with good communication and education. If banks put a new technology or product in front of a customer without sufficient explanation, odds are that it will fall flat, notes Gawasak. You have to provide sufficient explanation, and it has to make sense for the customer, he says. Trust is not one size fits all. So community banks recognize that best practices for building trust are not the same for everyone. The tried and true approach of going to meet with the customer, sitting down, asking great questions, listening to them, and providing relevant solutions, that's still a great way to go, says Travis C. Rouse, Senior Vice President and Chief Sales and Lending Officer at 495 million asset M&F Bank in Durham, North Carolina. But Rouse acknowledges that the traditional approach doesn't resonate with everyone these days. For some customers, trust comes from the product and services a bank offers, how a bank implements those products and services, and its ability to provide up-to-date technology, convenience, and ease of doing business. Banks also recognize that people are inherently different. For example, younger customers often have higher expectations for technology. They want things to happen fast and to be able to easily transact from their phones. If that technology doesn't work, that trust and that customer relationship is at risk. They're not going to have confidence that you can deliver what they need to be their bank, says Rouse. According to a survey of 10,000 U.S. consumers conducted by experience management software firm Qualtrics, if I'm saying that correctly, only half of consumers said they had confidence in the brands they do business with. Trust is lowest among Gen Z consumers with 28% and highest among baby boomers at 57%. Abacus Federal's primary customers are first and second generation Chinese immigrants with branches in New York City, Philadelphia, and Edison, New Jersey. Our population already comes from a place of not trusting. So you have to be very careful about what you do, says Sung. If you do something wrong, it's very hard to rebuild that trust. Another big challenge for Abacus Federal is building trust with younger generations. When the older generation of Chinese immigrants first came to the U.S., they chose a bank that spoke their language and understood and honored their traditions and culture. The subsequent generations may not want the same things. They might put more value in things like convenience and speed to withdraw money or apply for a loan. Building relationships and trust across generations goes back to the basics of truly understanding the customer and their needs, as Sung. What's important in our community is that you're consistent and you deliver what you say you're going to deliver, she says. So, and then it goes into 6 tips for building trust. So, number 1, start with a good foundation, provide great customer service, keep your promises, and try to make banking easy and frictionless for customers. Number 2, prioritize security and data privacy. Review security and data privacy protocols regularly and train staff on good security practices and how to watch out for cases of fraud. There's never a scenario where you could say, we beat the bad guys and they're never coming back. They will always come back and they will always try something new. So you have to visit it regularly. Number 3, keep customers informed. You may be doing all sorts of behind the scene things to keep bank and customer data safe, but that does nothing to instill trust unless you tell customers about it. Consider a regular email that keeps customers up to date on both emerging threats, how they can protect themselves, and what you are doing to protect their finances. Number 4, give staff the answers. It's important that employees not only know the banking regs and best practices for protecting customers, they also need to know how to respond to customer questions, giving them good information and guidance. Number 5, consistency matters. One of the most effective ways to build confidence and trust is through consistency. That consistency is important across areas ranging from the customer service you provide to maintaining a stable base of employees. And then finally, number 6, be proactive. People, technology, and culture are never static. Banks should always be evaluating traditional and new methods of building trust. And then I believe finally this wraps up with filling the role of trusted advisor. So what sets community banks apart from some of their larger competitors is the guidance they provide to customers. That is especially true for lenders who work with customers making big financial decisions, such as buying their first home, expanding their business, or financing equipment for the family farm. For lenders, says Annis, reputation is everything. In building trusted relationships, that reputation is built on a variety of factors, including the knowledge and experience needed to help find the best solutions for customers. Often, good guidance is more valuable than delivering the lowest rate on a loan. What's more important for us when we're in front of somebody who's looking to build a real estate project or borrow money for a new line in their factory is to be able to tell them, I've seen this before, and here's what this guy did to make it successful, and here's the way we'll structure your loan, says Annis. Annis says the best advice for a business may be to structure a loan for an expansion as interest only for 2 or 3 years until they get on their feet and start paying down principal. We spend a lot of time on that, and our lenders are really relied upon as unpaid professional advisors, he says. So cultivating experience starts with hiring good people and providing frequent training. For example, Meridian Bank started its own internal training program for lenders several years ago that includes sending its lenders to association-sponsored education and training, as well as having them work with attorneys to understand risk management and how to put documents together. It also invites all its lenders, especially the junior lenders, to attend its loan committee meetings where loans are presented for approval. When a complicated credit is presented, Annis says attendance allows junior lenders to hear all the points that the experienced lenders are making. It also helps them to learn where the guardrails are, where there is some flexibility in making loan and where there isn't. Training, he says, gives lenders the confidence to get in front of a customer in the field and be able to offer solutions that will work, or in some cases, be able to tell them quickly what won't work and why. Okay, and then it goes basically, the article goes into the most trusted subsect of financial services. Financial services overall, 55%. Banks have a 61% trust rating. Personal insurance at 53%. Property and casualty insurance at 51%. Financial advisor at 50%. Investment management, 50%, financial technology at 32%, and then cryptocurrency digital assets at only 25%. Which is interesting. I would say that investment advisor was a little bit lower than what I would have thought at 50%, but banks hanging strong at 61%. That's pretty good. So, and again, the front runners of customer service, 61% of surveyed consumers say they trust banks, the highest rating subsector within financial services. That's fantastic. So there you have it. And I would also say there's a lot of other surveys out there too that basically, like the Small Business Credit Survey, which the Federal Reserve does every year, which I have, done a lot of coverage of over the last, year and a half, a number of the different reports and surveys that are run out of that. But I would say that, again, it's not surprising to me that community banks have this great trust rating that they've been able to maintain over many decades because they are out there in the community. They spend a lot of time out at community events, community functions, chambers of commerce. They donate a lot of money to worthwhile causes, nonprofits. They train their customers on how to not just to sell you a product, but to how to be advisors, how to help you provide not just the product, but the solution that you need. It's matching the product to the solution, making sure that you're not just doing things aimlessly, but all this stuff is being done to make your life better, help you to buy a house that you need to start a family, help you to start the business that you've always dreamed of, help you to grow an existing business to hopefully make more wealth, be able to hire more people, bring people in, pay people more money, like all the critical things that everybody needs to do every day in this life. So I love it. Great things pointed out in this article. So again, if you're out there in the world and you're looking at different banks, think about community banks. Think about what they offer. Think about why they offer it. Think about why they do some of the things they do, and think about why people love banking with them and why they put so much trust in them. It's because of all these little things. It's not necessarily because they got the best tech, not necessarily because they always put out the best rate, but it's because that they're there for their customers time and time again, and they're active and involved in their communities and their lives. Okay. And they always put the customer first. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed this article. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, as that always helps the channel. Remember, we are on YouTube, Rumble, and all major podcast platforms. Please be sure to leave your comments down below, as I always love getting back to everybody. And as always, make sure to check out some of the other content on the channel. I hope everyone has a great day out there, and I will see everyone again real soon. Thanks a lot.